64 for 2, Sibley 23. 3 slips in the gully, waiting for an outside edge. Backward point, mid-off, forward square leg, mid-on, and a fine leg. Gabriel bowls, this one not quite as full, and Sibley, no trouble at all, allows that to go by.
This is his 13th Test innings. Since 2001, when the ball-by-ball stats begin on Cricinfo, 134 openers have opened 10 or more times in Test cricket. Sibley has been out inside the first 20 overs in innings only 3 times out of the 13 times he's opened, which is the best 20-over survival rate of any opener in that period. However, he is one of the slowest scorers. He's the 9th slowest scorer in terms of run per ball and has the 7th highest dot ball percentage. So that those sort of stats sort of illustrate what you were talking about, that he's surviving, using up overs, but struggling to score.
Yeah. Gabriel past the umpire into bowl to him. Outside the off stump. Just coming back a fraction there from Gabriel. Quite wide, though, so he was able to leave it.
I mean, he's the kind of cricketer that, as a team, if he plays like this and he's batting out there for a long period of time, for one, he'd be a bowler's best friend. And the bowlers will know they can sit up and just kind of set him for a few nice cups of teas and a few biscuits, because he likes to bat long. I don't think you'll rush to get to your seat for 11 o'clock. You just kind of go and analyse him throughout the day, but he's doing a job for the team, and that's what you want your openers to. So often in the past we've criticised England because they've come out dashing. Well, I prefer this style of approach for Test match cricket. I think it gives them more of a chance of being consistent as a group.
Gabriel tries again, bowls to Sibley outside the off stump, and he flashes that away down towards the third man boundary for 4. I lost the flight of the ball, but it must go off a thickish outside edge, but it was short and wide, and it got what it deserved, really. And Sibley was on to that one, all right.
Well, that's perfect. It was a tremendous shot. Knew exactly where the slip fielders were. He knows there's no one down there. It's a gift of a delivery from Shannon Gabriel, but you also put into the equation this West Indian attack's the same attack as a week ago. They've only had 3 days in between the tests, so he really is wearing down the likes of Shannon Gabriel, Jason Holder, Kemar Roach, and the likes of Ben Stokes, Ollie Pope, Joss Butler, Sam Curran, Chris Wokes, Don Best. They could capitalise because of the hard work he's doing. He's wearing them down.
That's the plan.
Yeah,
England have been explicit about that. Sibley on to 27 with that boundary from his 91st ball. It's 68 for 2. Gabriel bowls very full, and it was almost Yorker length, and Sibley dead batted it. Got the bat down and went into the offside, and there's no run. End of the over. So England 68 for 2, had 28 overs. If you think of the first session of a day's play, before lunch being 30 overs, and you see where England roughly are by what should be the lunch interval now. So it's been a cautious start for them. Cat and mouse cricket. Play starting at 12:30 today, and can, in theory, go on until 7:30. The lights have been on the whole time, which might well be an issue later on, as it was indeed at the Ageas Bowl. I just couldn't seem to stay on the field if it was cloudy around about 6ish, 5:36ish. That might be an issue as well. We saw some blue sky early, but there's nothing above at the moment. It's uniformly grey. So,
nice day up north.
For those who come from the south, it feels like a stereotypical Manchester day today.
You do like to point that finger quite often, don't you? Bristol, you know what you're expecting down in Bristol.
Every time we go to Bristol, you say it rains the whole time.
It does. Well, it does. They always get rained off.
Here's Holder beginning a new over. Bowls to Root outside the off stump, and there's no stroke. And it's through to Dowrich. Well, they were very unlucky with the World Cup last year. Those 2 matches rained out, which damaged the chances of Sri Lanka and Pakistan in that World Cup. Well, there was rain around elsewhere as well. West Indies had a game rained off in Southampton. They played a thrilling game here against New Zealand, which Carlos was involved in. He was caught on the boundary late on by Trent Boult, going for the winning blow. Root comes forward, plays defensively towards short extra cover, and there is no run. It's hard to think, isn't it? The World Cup was over a year ago now. Time slips by the off stump quite quickly.
Well, it was a year anniversary the other day, was it?
Tuesday,
yeah. And I saw all the clips, and just a few little memories came flooding back.
Still be playing them in 100 years' time. Well, you hope anyway. This is Holder moving into bowl to Root outside the off stump, shaping away. Root watches it carefully, allows it to go by.
Yeah, that was a good lead because it was that carrot dangled. It was a nice floaty, not wide of off stump, but it was certainly there that you could have had a nice drive at that, but the shape would have made the shot a difficult one with the ball swinging away from that outside edge. It was a good lead because you see Joe Root went to play and then he went, ooh, I'll just leave that one.
Root 18 not out. 2 slips in the gully in, 3-7-1 on the offside. Holder bowls to Root, who drives nicely but straight to mid-off. And there is no run. Root's had an interesting last couple of weeks or so where he's been in and out of the bundle with the birth of his second child. Now, how much cricket he's had, really. I mean, all of them had very little, a lot of net practice, but
I'm sure he's been hitting lots of balls.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, you're mentally fresh, you've got no baggage. Best time to bat.
Holder bowls to Root. Root turns it away into the onside for 1, possibly 2. Yeah, he's coming back for the second. Throws on its way from Roston Chase. And Root easily home. Root to 20, England 70 for 2 on that World Cup final break. If you want to hear it again, and it's been played a few times, you can listen to the whole final via BBC Sounds or a special programme on BBC Sounds called The Final Hour. 70 for 2. Holder turns at the far end, Jimmy Anderson end. Holder bowls to Root outside the offside, again shaping away swing. And Root allows it to go by, and it's taken by wicketkeeper Dowrich. 70 for 2 is the score. Looks like we're going to have a double change in here fairly soon. Michael Vaughan has departed. Carlos Brathwaite is coming in. Here's Andy Zaltzman.
Looking at their bowlers' speeds according to the CricViz data, and I've talked about how Shannon Gabriel might be tired after a long layoff with injury. Hadn't played a competitive game since last September before the Southampton test. In the first innings at Southampton, he averaged 86.9 miles an hour, second innings 85.5, and so far here 83.8. Alzari Joseph also down by about 3 miles an hour on what he was bowling in the first test.
Yeah, interesting stats those. Gabriel, they chased a ball on the 4th day. Here's Gabriel going into bowl to Sibley. And Sibley stuck on the pad quite high up. Gabriel knows it as well. Interest from behind, nothing really from Gabriel. He chased the ball on the 4th day, and you think, why? There's no way he's going to play in the next test match. It looked as if he was running in sand, but he's got himself out there, walking very slowly back. But it is tough for the bowlers if you've got to play back-to-back, so it might work out fine for England. The fact they have got 3 fresh bowlers in this match, and I'm sure Root would love to have had Jofra Archer in his bowling attack. 70 for 2. Sibley on 27. The leg slip is in now for Gabriel bowling to Sibley, an area which has brought his downfall during his test match career. So 2 slips of gully and a leg slip. 70 for 2. And Gabriel goes in and bowls to Sibley. And Sibley looks as if he's trying to leave that. We get some bat on it. Runs down towards third man. They're off for 1. They're coming back for the second. And Sibley survives. Inadvertent stroke. Sibley to 29 with those 2 runs. And England on to 72 for 2. Carlos is here. Both wickets so far to the slow bowler Roston Chase on a grey day in Manchester after West Indies asked England to bat first.
Very different for a session of play than what we expected. 2 down nonetheless. Not the best session of play thus far either. But yeah, there's some way into that middle order at the moment.
Sibley on 29 now. And here's Gabriel rolling into bowl to down the leg side, and Sibley allows that to hit him. They run through. I'm sure this is going to be disallowed though. This run, they go, oh, you don't want to get run out when it could be a dead ball. Just let that hit him. Is the umpire going to allow this or not? No, he's not. Quite right too. So there's nearly a run out there.
Would he have been run out?
Well, Yeah, because they went through they tried to go through for the second run. Well, because it's a dead ball.
If it's a dead ball.
That's a good. I don't know. I've ever seen that happen before, actually.
Cricket and its rules again.
Yeah. We need to delve into the laws. I don't think I've ever seen anyone take a risky one on a dead ball. Surely the ball is live until the umpire signalled dead ball. That would be the logical conclusion from that.
But then
72 for 2. Sibley on 29. Gabriel moves in, bowls. Sibley's across his stumps there, playing into the onside towards square leg, and there's no run.
Because there is a chance the umpire could signal leg boys for evasive action.
Yeah.
But then suppose he says it wasn't evasive action, it was going to be signaled dead ball. Is it out or not out?
I think out. That would be my
out and dead ball.
Yeah, and the first run disallowed. Yeah, I mean it does seem perverse, doesn't it? The fact you could be run out off a dead ball. But otherwise, you just signal dead ball straight away, wouldn't you? As soon as you played no shot. Do you see what I mean? That would be the logic there. 72 for 2. Sibley on 29. Gabriel bowls, stands up there and plays firmly in defence. Back to the bowler who stops, and there's no run. It's amazing this game throws up so many different things you haven't thought of. That's why we had John Holder in our box ask the umpire, people coming with all sorts of questions to him about the obscure laws of the game and how they are applied. Gabriel stretching here.
Not a good save.
He's testing out a thigh, something like that.
Groin probably.
Yeah, or a groin. Just keep an eye on that. He hasn't got the ball at the moment. It's been thrown to him by Roston Chase. Turns round and then prepares to set off again to bowl to Sibley. With that leg slip in. He's quite fine, the leg slip fielder. Gabriel bowls full and Sibley drives into the offside past the diving Roston Chase. He's going out towards the long off boundary. It's more a push drive. They've run 2. Are they going to come back for the third? No, that was Root, not Keane there. Problems at both ends actually for the batsman as Joseph got onto that. Right, that's the end of the over. We'll keep an eye on Shannon Gabriel as he walks slowly back to his fielding position. It's 74 for 2 at the end of 30 overs. Isha's coming in after a few more thoughts from you, Carlos.
It looks like he actually may be going off. Alzai Joseph is at fine leg, but Shannon is walking probably at a deep slip by now and well on his way back to the dressing room. So it looks as though he's going off, and that would be a shame. I guess this has vindicated why England rested a couple of their seamers and has put the West Indies bowling attack under a lot of pressure now. Roach wicketless in the first game. Jason does what he does. Alzari flickering between hot and cold, and Roston Chase left to bear the brunt of the wicket taking.
Hi Carlos, as Holder comes in now to Root, who's backing across and working it past mid-wicket, sprinting for the first, and will come back for 2 as mid-wicket chases after the ball to the boundary. They might even push the 3 as well, they will, and they'll get there comfortably as the throw comes in to Dowrich. So Root to 23, and he just signals to Dom Sibley with his gloves just to keep talking. That communication so vital in the middle between the two batsmen. 77 for 2 then, England. Had to navigate a really tricky period after the lunch. Zach Crawley out, very first ball to Roston Chase. Working it off the hips to leg slip. Jason Holder gratefully received the catch. And he stands at the top of his mark now, just giving the ball a bit of a shine on the front part of his trousers. And looks down the pitch, Joe Root just off the square leg before setting himself up once more. 2 slips in a gully, a point. Extra cover mid-off on the offside as Holder bowls outside the off stump. Root allows it to pass. Lights on here at Old Trafford and gloomy skies still. It's been pretty dark and grey all day long. Flags blowing in the distance, a light breeze across the grounds. Definitely a lot cooler up here than it was down at Southampton, Carlos.
A bit too cool sometimes. And we don't have the luxury of just nipping back to the room in between stints.
Well, you were here really early, weren't you? About 8:30 as Holder's bowling edged through the slip cordon down to the third man boundary. It went between second slip and fourth slip. And a very good delivery from Holder because it drew Sibley into the stroke. Looking to push forwards and drive, bat slightly closed, and it would have been a grab for that man at third slip.
It's either been a really good wicket or Sibley has been out of his comfort zone just a bit. He's playing a lot more balls today than he did in Southampton in that second innings. Could be testament to how good the wicket is, but very well controlled. Although it was off the outer edge, still made it down into the ground before the slip cordon.
Sibley on 35 then, as he leaves one outside the off stump from Holder, just back of a length. Bringing the length back on that occasion. Holder 81 for 2, England then into the 31st over here today. And Shannon Gabriel off the field of play. We'll get news on that very shortly, hopefully, just to understand how serious and severe it is. But we did talk about it, didn't we, Carlos, earlier today, about the overs that he bowled at Southampton. Over 35 is Holder bowls to Sibley, who leaves it outside the off stump once more, bat raised high, and how, you know, it would have impacted him after such a long break of not playing international cricket as well, and a 3-day turnaround.
Yeah, this morning, as you say, got here quite early, too early. But then I saw...
I did think that you'd peaked too soon. I could actually see you from my hotel room. I was spying on you.
Yeah, I was trying to get here for the debrief or whatever.
As Holder approaches the crease, running towards us, bowls to Sibley, defending. Comes forwards and manages to smother the ball, but the slip cordon were interested. End of the over then at 81 for 2.
Yeah, and just ended up chilling at work for 3 hours. Or even more, because the play got delayed. But I watched Roach and Shannon drag the bags across to the dressing room, and I thought, they probably had their feet up for the last couple of days. I'm sure, knowing the two characters, they probably had a gym session. Roach would have probably done some running. But it's difficult, obviously, 3 days in between. 1 day is basically a travel day with a long drive. To know how to get the most bowling in whilst you put your feet up. Now, it would have been really, really tough, especially on Shannon. Roach. He's a lot shorter, a lot more lean. Shannon, big, tall, muscular. It would have been really tough on his body to find that balance, and it looked as though it is showing.
Well, the rest of the bowlers are going to have to put in now. England 2 down. At one stage they were 29 for 2, and Joe Root was striding out to the middle, his first bat in a serious game of cricket in 4 months. Didn't play in the warm-up game, of course, because he was at home, and so it was his first test, quite literally, out in the middle against a quality bowling attack with their tails up. Kemar Roach was getting the ball moving. Roston Chase as well early on in an innings. As a batsman, you know, you want to get your feet moving, and the spinner was on and causing problems. So navigated that, did the captain Joe Root. He's on 23, not out. Dom Sibley has just been going about his business, as we so often see, taking his time. 35 off 103 deliveries. Rory Burns was the first to go for 15 just before lunch. Out to LBW to chase a ball that just went straight on, and Zach Crawley, as I mentioned earlier, caught Holder at leg slip, bowled by Chase, got a bit of turn and bounce, bowling it on middle stump, really quite a straight line to Crawley, and that was the very first ball after lunch. So West Indies would have felt in the game at that point, but since then these two have got a partnership together, Sibley and Root. 81 for 2 then, England, after West Indies won the toss and elected to bowl first here at Old Trafford. Generally teams are batting first here because of the wicket, hard and bouncy, looks a good track, and the fact that it turns a lot later on. But Holder looking up and seeing the overcast conditions, lights on, feeling he had a good opportunity to try and make some early inroads.
and Joe Root came up to bat on a hat trick as well.
Yeah.
Not the thing you want to face your first ball in was 6 months.
What a reintroduction to Test cricket. You're 1-0 down in the series. You're in on a hat trick, but that morning you've had to deal with Jofra Archer being withdrawn from the squad, having broken COVID protocol. I mean, who would have imagined that 6 months ago? Crazy, crazy stuff. If you're just tuning in, Jofra Archer, it was deemed for him breaking protocol because he went home in between the 2 test matches. Players were told to come directly to Manchester, and he went down to Sussex in the break, in the couple of days off. So England had already named their 13 by that point, and so they couldn't call Mark Wood back up. So they've gone with Sam Curran and Chris Wokes, and Stuart Broad returns to the side as well, as Joseph will come on from the Brian Statham end, running away from us now towards Joe Root. Ball's full, and that's driven by Root outside the off stump. Not too much foot movement as it ends up at point. He's on 23.81 for 2 England.
Isha, I mean, it's tough because you want to be as harsh as on a transgression like that. That could obviously be life-changing if any of the players pick it up. But it is alleged that Jofra literally stopped home for an hour. Some of the abuse that you're seeing.
As Root is back and across, driving edge and taken. Jason Holder at second slip. It came at hip height to his right. Alzari Joseph with the wicket of Root, pitching it up and enticing the England captain into the drive. England 81 for 3.
And Alzari's actually celebrated a wicket. That's a first. And they like to find the amount of times that Alzari's celebrated his wickets in Test cricket. Now, I'm sure he'd be happy with that one. Nicking off the England captain, especially after he lost to Shannon. One less wicket to get over a longer period of time. So very well done, Alzari. And he will play now a very, very important role, not only in assisting sharing of overs, but as a potent wicket-taking option.
Joe Root then out for 23, making the slow walk off into the pavilion. He's disappeared downstairs in front of us as out emerges Ben Stokes, a man who has such a good 2019, the standing captain at Southampton. He admitted that he hadn't slept the final night before what was a really difficult final day for England. West Indies chasing down 200 to see them to the first win of the series, and England on the back foot. So Ben Stokes will want to put in a lion-hearted performance, as we so often see from him. Tricky conditions though, because the ball is still moving, and Alzari Joseph, he actually got the most swing out of all of the West Indies bowlers at Southampton on that occasion to Root, just pitching it up. The seam presentation as we look at the replay was brilliant, just aiming it towards second slip. It went late, but Joe Root took the bait slightly fuller. He was going for the drive through the covers, and Jason Holder did the rest. So Ben Stokes just readjusting his pads at the far end of the ground, rehearsing a couple of drives. Joseph at the top of his mark. He's got 2 slips in the gully, point, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a man down on the 5-leg boundary as he pushes away now past the umpire. Bowls to Stokes, who clips it off his legs. First runs for him, then, is he will come back for 2. The throw is sent in from mid-wicket now, chasing after it. So Stokes to 283 for 3.
That was very close to the ball. Alzari's back foot. Very, very close to cutting that's side crease. But no one has looked at it. Is your back foot right? That can't cross. Yeah, that was close. Both of them.
Sorry, bowls tight to the stumps this time. Stokes leaving on length over the top of off stump. Hence the excitement from the slip cordon, and all of a sudden the West Indies again. A few more chirps.
Yeah, it's important for Alzarri though to not buy into the hype and go searching for that wicket and just continue to be patient and show off his skills. He's a skillful bowler. Just do it over a period of time, build pressure again, and then get your breakthrough.
Stokes allows that one to pass slightly wider of the off stump on that occasion, so an easier leave. Run rate of 2.61 for England in this test so far. Burns and Sibley occupied the crease for the majority of that first session. Didn't score too heavily. I mean, the ball was moving around quite significantly.
They could barely touch it how wide Shannon and Roach were bowling. Wasn't the best session for sure.
Stokes pushes forwards, hits the inner part of his bat, it heads on out to square leg as mid-wicket is on the chase once more. They'll come back for another 2. So Stokes to 4, and England score 85 for 3 after 32 overs. Lots of memories from this ground, of course, here at Old Trafford. There's no crowd here for this test match, but last year we witnessed a number of World Cup matches, including a century from you, Carlos, against New Zealand. And we were also devastated that you weren't able to do it. It was so close. And it was Trent Boult, wasn't it, on the boundary? And it's incredible, isn't it, to think that the World Cup final, he takes the catch, but then steps back over the boundary. It ends up being 6. But on that occasion, everyone's hearts were in their mouth, and he manages to do it.
I was most upset, Nisha.
I can imagine. As Sibley is punching that to the leg side awkwardly, goes to mid-wicket, no run, the bowling of Holder.
Funny enough, Isha, one of my highlights of that game, second ball of the day, ball goes out into the outfielder at mid-on. I'm not fast, so it wasn't a quick chase by any stretch of imagination, but I managed to get close to it, and then I dived head first, hit my head, got a slight bout of whiplash, slapped at the ball, missed it completely.
Sibley back and across again and defends.
And what should have been an easy 2, I think was a comical 4. They ran 4. I was left with whiplash. Evan Lewis then had to sprint past me to stop the ball from reaching the boundary. He pulled his hamstring. He eventually went off over later. And I somehow managed to let everyone forget that by scoring 100. That was an eventful day.
A calamitous series of events that led to what was one of the best games of that World Cup, as Holder bowls to Sibley, pushing to the offside on this occasion. Ends up at point, no run. It's... I thought you were going to do it again. It would have been a miracle, because you were in such a... Well, there was no way you were going to win that game until you came in and started playing some shots. Yeah,
and for some reason, funny enough, every batter that I spoke to that came in was just saying, look, let me just take it close. So it's not as a case as though anyone came in and thought, all right, just get as much as you can get, and then let's get out of here. Everybody literally thought we could have won it.
Holder past the umpire to Sibley, who leaves the ball very close to the off stump as it goes through to Dowrich.
But yeah, and just... I remember looking up at his scoreboard when O'Shane came in and we needed 40 odd, and they tell him, look, I can get the bulk of it. I think we ended up getting 40 as a partnership, and he didn't get any at all, only had to face 4 balls. So it probably would have been better as a knock than the 4 sixes if I had brought it home, but obviously the result.
Sibley again allows it to pass outside the off stump.
The result in the 4 sixes, you can't top that. Beating England in India. Yeah, but that was one of the knocks that I look back on and think only if I could do that more often. Get the time to bat and then show the batsmanship that I showed in that innings.
But what is it that brings out the best in you in those instances, do you think? As Holder turns at the top of his mark. Here he comes now on an angle to Sibley, bowling a good length outside the off stump. It goes through to Dowrich, and Sibley will remain on 35. Stokes on 4, 85 for 3.
I guess it could be a bit of, that never say die attitude, the challenge. In a way, a bit of arrogance, wanting to be the hero. So my dad used to tell me all the time, I need to find ways to perform in small matches. When there's not much on the line, sometimes I could be trying this and trying that. And then you look back at your average and think, if I made 30 not out instead of swiping up my hand for 10, you'll be averaging close to 30 and look a lot better. But then when the game is coming down to where you're back against the wall, I want to be the person with bat in hand, I want to be the person with ball in hand. And you will lose some, but if it's one thing that I like about myself and my game is that mentality to want to take the challenge on regardless of the outcome.
It's fascinating stuff. I want to get into your brain. As Stokes, the left-handed Stokes, taps his bat down, bat hovering above the stumps as he leaves outside the off stump. A ball from Alzarri Joseph getting some nice curve here, the right-arm bowler. Bowling quite tight to the stumps, and it shapes as it comes back in, but outside the off stump. Just on expectation, really. So the expectation after the World Cup, and is that expectation you put on yourself that you have to perform every time you go out there? Are you feeling it from your teammates, the management, everyone around you in the Caribbean as Joseph bowls this one angling across Stokes as he leaves that one?
You could put it down to a couple of things. Again, wanting to be the hero, wanting to finish it with a 6. Sometimes it's better to take the selfish option or the boring option. You remember, look at your West Indies in Southampton, how they just walked it home as opposed to trying to romp to victory. Sometimes it's better to take the boring or selfish option and just come not out, just get a single.
As Joseph approaches the crease, bowls on the stumps, Stokes defends, back down to the pitch.
For me personally too, it was thinking these 4 sixes would have given me a platform, and now I want to take West Indies cricket forward, and it's almost as though you needed to go through a process to get that done, as opposed to it just happening because you want it to happen. So for a year or so I would say that I neglected the process, looking for the outcome.
Stokes misses one as it goes through to Dowrich on the inside of the bat. That shape that I was talking about from Alzarri Joseph, pitching it on around off stump, just outside as it curves back in, and it beats Stokes between bat and pad.
This is good stuff from Alzarri. Trusting the process. He just been hammering away just outside the off stump, bringing the ball back and building pressure, not getting too funky.
Stokes on the back foot, this time defending with the full face of the bat, no run. He's probing away, isn't he? Around that length outside the off stump, and posing questions because he is bringing it back in. The odd one just going away into that slip cordon, but
and
he's bowling well here, yeah.
He's trying to get really close, probably too close, and probably having a look, see if he's getting in the protected area, but it's been good stuff from him.
Here he comes again, full, and it's a full toss that Stokes drives to mid-off. And you can always tell with Stokes when he's frustrated that he's missed out on one, because there's a little grimace and a shake of the head, and he now places his bat down on the floor as he receives a headband from Ben Folkes, who's run onto the pitch in his visor top. And it's become fashionable, hasn't it, Carlos? The headband?
Yeah. You've seen all colours, all sizes. Broad's one has a knot somebody was referring to at the back. I'm surprised that none of the brands have managed to send some branded ones to the England team room.
Yeah, Ben Stokes' hair has certainly grown in lockdown as Dom Sibley sets up to Holder. Diving down the leg side is Dowrich, but he hasn't got anything on it. Sibley, it is a brilliant catch though, as he leaps to his left, Dowrich. taking it one-handed in his left glove.
What a grab.
Yeah, that's the ball that just goes on with the arm from Holder. A good length delivery, but it is certainly a target area for the West Indies. Sibley caught a number of times as that's Fuller, and Sibley digs it out to the offside, no run. Lights.
Sorry, I was talking earlier on about Golden Ducks for England number 3, so I don't think I've quite finished the stats. Zach Crawley's was the 3rd in England's last 6 home tests. Joe Root has had 2 last summer against Australia. And in the previous 60 years of home tests, they'd only had 6 Golden Ducks by number 3, so there's been a flurry of late.
Thanks for that, Andy. As Holder comes in on angle, Sibley defends ably. Back down the pitch to Holder, who takes the ball and tosses it to mid-off. Ruston Chase position there with his maroon cap on, giving it a shine on his trousers. So he now passes it back to his captain. Tall in stature is Jason Holder. And this is where he needs to dig in. He's lost a bowler, Shannon Gabriel off the field of play at the moment. Here he comes again. Past the umpire, bowls to Sibley, who prods at one outside the off stump. It hits the bottom part of the bat and just falls in front of him. And so he just rehearses the leave. And Holder will make the slow walk back to the top of his mark. Stokes setting up at the far end, just rehearsing a couple of strokes, visualising how he wants to play. It's the battle recommencing again, isn't it, by Stokes as Sibley again pushes this one to the offside. It's almost like he's trying to fend it off at times, but that is his defensive push.
It's funny how he plays a forward defence and then rehearses a leave every single ball. But it seems as though he's gone from playing only at balls within the stumps in Southampton to now fending and defending balls 4th, 5th stump. Probably West Indies probably have him right where they want him.
Holder bowls to Sibley, hits the outer part of the bat. It goes through the slip cord and down to the 3rd man boundary. As Craig Brathwaite fetches the ball and throws it in. And that is the end of the over. 37 to Sibley then, 87 for 3, and 35 overs have been bowled in this England innings. Alzarri Joseph no doubt will continue from the Brian Statham end. Lights on here at Old Trafford. Grey skies above. Flags hanging limp in the distance, not so much of a breeze now, but cool conditions up here in Manchester. Clouds looking like they're curdling almost together. No real bright spots as Joseph gives the ball a shine. Wearing a short-sleeved shirt as he pushes away towards Ben Stokes, who's backing across and leaving outside the off stump. Stokes on 4 then, early on in his innings, 87 for 3 England. You can watch the best of the action we've had now on the BBC Sport website and app. Just click on the text commentary and you'll find them. Or you can watch Today at the Test on BBC 2 from 7 p.m. tonight, and available on the iPlayer to watch at your leisure. Watch out for Carlos Brathwaite. Looking trendy without his socks, but his smart shoes on as Joseph bowls to Stokes, who's smothering that ball outside the off stump, off the back foot. And Carlos has departed. In comes Tuffers.
Hello.
How are you doing, Tuffers?
Very well.
You good?
All good. Yeah, always got to watch out. No socks and shoes, haven't you? Especially trainers. Get a bit ripe sometimes.
See, I don't think I could manage that look. Socks and shoes.
Could set a new trend.
Not with these pumps. As Stokes bat high.
Ooh.
Clips it past square leg. A full delivery on middle stump out to fine leg. He's come back for 2 as the throw now comes in, and he sends Sibley back for the 3rd.
trying to set him up, isn't he? Ball swinging for him. Bowled well. Trying to swing it back into the left-hander's pads, make him miss. Yeah, don't want to miss that, Ben Stokes. He'll be well adjacent, looking for the LBW. Looks good though, doesn't he? I mean, he just comes in, just looks at $1 million, doesn't he, Ben Stokes? Bowler-friendly conditions, a little bit dark, just comes in, bang, bang, bang. Looks in good nick.
He's been a lot stiller so far in this innings as he's back and across and defending. But it finds its way to Shane Dowrich, actually, running away to his right as it heads down to fine leg. But he's even that was played solidly. He's right on top of the ball, head over the ball, as he goes to 7 and pinches a single, 90 for 3.
He was on his bike down at the Ageas Bowl, wasn't he? I mean, he was all over the place trying to sort of, nullify swing, nullify little bits of movement as well, really trying to get down the pitch at the seam bowlers. As you say, this might just have a bit more bounce in it, though, which kind of stops you doing that.
Yeah.
But still looks solid.
Sibley then open stance to Joseph, bowling wide of the off stump and pushing that to the offside. Sibley is.
Yeah, and you can really see Azari Joseph to the right hand that looks to bowl wide on the crease, and then to the left hand that looks to come nearer to the crease, trying to go for that LBW. So using where he delivers the ball from and his foot position, very well. Looking to draw that drive through the offside to the right hander.
Fastest ball for Alzari Joseph, 86 miles an hour.
Sharp enough.
Averaging 83 as he pushes forwards again, arms pumping, bowls to Sibley on the back foot defending. At the end of the over then, Sibley will continue on 37 and Stokes on 7. England 90 for 3. 36 overs have been bowled.
Might be tempted, even though he's bowled very nicely, Jason Holder, might be tempted just to get Roston Chase onto the left-hander with bounce as well, perhaps a slip and a gully. Left-handed, he has got the ball to turn a little bit, but these two doing a good job for the West Indies. Might have a little bit of spin.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Well, it will be Jason Holder to continue from the James Anderson end. A few more thoughts from you, Tuffers, and then it will be Jonathan Agnew.
He's looked very solid. Ben Stokes. Shame to lose Joe Root there to a bit of a flashy shot outside off stump. He'll be disappointed with that. Got drawn into it. England were just dragging themselves out of a bit of trouble. Naggers.
Yes, it was quite wide, a bit surprising, really, wasn't it? He rather threw his bat at it and off it went. 90 for 3. Sibley, by Old Man River, he's just plodding along. 37 from 117 balls. And Holder's coming in bowling, and Stokes leans forward and plays him carefully to cover. And there's no run. Still pretty grey, and you wonder whether they will get through to 7:30
Good luck
tonight. I must say, the floodlights have been on all day, and the ball's just moved around a little bit.
He's got a defined role, hasn't he, Dom Sibley? I guess, I think.
Extraordinary down here. They're asking for. There was one person down there at the far end who's a cameraman who's probably been there all day.
Oh, that's going to be tricky.
And Ben Stokes has asked for him to move, and I don't know quite what he's going to do about that. And I think he's gesturing, saying, "Well, this is my." The trouble is that they have an absolutely firmly directed spot where they can go, and Ben Stokes didn't want him there. So the only person in the ground at the far end is a cameraman on official business, but he's got his hands out, saying, "I can't. This is where I've been put."
Yeah, you might not be getting pictures from that end otherwise.
Isn't that strange? Holder resumes and bowls very wide. Stokes allows it to go by. No, because everyone's got an absolutely tight little area to where they can operate from, and that's clearly where that camera has been placed.
That's batsman for you, though, John.
Well, it is.
I know.
Some of them could see. I mean, Alex Stewart was the worst.
Yeah,
I think
that's
he could
right.
see anything.
Yeah, someone was moving in Kent.
Yeah. Have to stop. Have to stop.
Yeah. Can you put a blanket on that windscreen in North London?
Holder bowls. Stokes and just leans forward. Doesn't get very far down the pitch as he leans forward, but that runs away out to point. Well, here, of course, the match, as we're hearing at lunchtime, is where good light stopped play.
That's right, with Dickie.
Yep.
Dickie Bird.
It was extraordinary. There was a DIY superstore
That's right.
down to our left when the pitch was the other way round.
Yeah.
And the light was glinting off it, because it used to be quite strange here in the late afternoon, evening, didn't it, when you're playing?
Yep,
A very low sun. Holder bowls, and Stokes again just walks forward and plays to mid-on, defensively once more.
We played at Horsham.
Oh, yes.
Yes, do you remember that?
I never played a Horsham,
No,
actually.
well, second 11 game. And they all used to park the cars behind one end, like in an adjacent field. And the light, you know, late in the summer or what have you. And they all had to go and get sort of blankets.
Yes.
All sorts of things. And there must have been 200 cars there. It took about half an hour. They had to put blankets all over the windscreens, yeah.
90 for 3. Holder from the Anderson end bowls, and Stokes has a look at this and then takes his bat out of the way. It's taken by Durrich, wicketkeeper, who's had a mixed day today. He's had a couple of balls from Gabriel that he completely fluffed. They swung late. And Gabriel, he did go off the field. I can't see where fine leg is.
No, Joseph's down at 5.
Joseph's down there.
I don't think he's on, John.
I don't think the big fella's on. He rubbed various parts of his leg and has potted off, which didn't look very encouraging.
Might have been worthwhile, perhaps, the West Indies resting him for the next test. In hindsight,
Yeah.
quick turnaround.
I guess they just wanted to win, didn't they?
Yeah.
Win the game,
Play
win
your
the
best,
series.
yeah, play your best bowling lineup.
Holder's coming around the wicket now, and Stokes raises the bat, and it's taken low down by Durrich. And that's the end of the over. Flags gently blowing away from their poles down at the far end. Oh, here we go. Thank you for this, Adam. We were asking for some strange British traditions. You weren't here for the knob throwing, were you?
No.
So the Dorset knob throwing, it all came about because Ellie Oldroyd has made some cakes, and she presented it in this, it looks quite an old tin.
Lovely tin.
Which to talk about the Dorset knob, which I didn't know. I assumed it was something to do with bread rolls. I had that conversation last year, didn't we, about rolls and buns and
Yes.
things. But no, the Dorset knob is a sort of a biscuit, apparently. And they have a knob throwing contest. So it's outside the off stump, and Sibley allows that to go by as Joseph continues from this end. So we sort of thought, well, look, we do throw some strange things, don't
Wellies.
we? Wellington boots.
Yeah. Horseshoes.
Black puddings, and Dorset knobs. So James Wheatley, who's landlord of the Queen's Head, has been in touch. In the village of Sedlescombe,
Oh, that sounds a nice place.
we have geese that happily roam around the village green and live in the barn of the pub. In goes Joseph, bowls just swings a little. And Sibley's well forward. He heard the appreciative noises there from behind the stumps. That wasn't a bad ball, it just swung a bit, and Sibley played it well. So down to Sedlescombe we go, and at the last summer fair, a grid of 100 squares was marked out and numbered. And in the weeks leading up to the fair, spelled F-A-Y-R-E, of course.
Of course.
The squares were sold off for £1 each, with money going to the local charity. So he's going somewhere, I'm not sure where at the moment. Here's Joseph, very full, swinging away, and played down to mid-off. We then watched to see which square the geese chose to fertilise first.
Okay.
And the person who drew the winning square claimed a prize.
Yep. Yes.
They're not throwing things, are they? It's a,
No, but I've seen that.
Have you?
Yes. It's like snail racing and things like that. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, so they simply watching with the
Yeah.
goose.
Goes and
Right.
Yeah.
This is Joseph, and he's clipped hard to mid-wicket. Really clipped hard. But straight to the fielder. Again, lots of noise out there for the West Indians.
Toe wrestling.
90 for 3.
Derbyshire. Very
Not a
big
lot. Can I suggest that not a lot must go on in Sedlescombe?
Well,
I mean, is that-
there must be a judge who's just waiting. You know.
They must do a sort of a rota or something.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
right. You don't want to miss the first.
No, that's the vital moment.
Yes, of course. Might be during the middle of the night.
It could be.
Yeah. I've done toe wrestling in Derbyshire.
Toe wrestling.
Yeah. I've done toe wrestling.
On earth do you do that?
Well, with your toes.
Well, I know. In goes Joseph, pulls outside the off stump. Sibley allows that to go by. But do you
With
actually...
your big toes. With your big toes.
Was it recreational or competitive?
It's competitive. No, it's competitive. Yeah, they do it in the pub in Derbyshire. I think I did it for a one show or something like that. You know, you get your foot like that, and then you interlock big toes. It's like that thing we do with your thumbs, and which one that gets on top of the thumb and keeps it down. They do it with toes. So if you've got a great big fat toe, it's lovely.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
90 for 3.
All sorts.
In goes Joseph, over the wicket, bowls, and Sibley's worked him away from that Midland leg. Through they go for another run. Much more noise from the West Indians now, so urging each other on, if you like. 91 for 3, 38 overs gone, Stokes 7.
And
Sibley has 38. Martin Brunt,
yeah.
on the subject of quirky British events.
There you go.
He's a reporter, Martin Brunt, isn't he? Is that the Martin Brunt? I had a go at the shin-kicking championships in Gloucester a few years ago.
Really?
Which involves trying to knock your opponent to the ground by kicking them repeatedly in the shins.
What?
What an appalling sport this is, Martin. No shin pads are allowed, but you're allowed to put some straw down your socks.
Wow.
Maybe one for Simon Mann to have a go at with his new karate
I'm not
skills.
doing that, John.
Sounds a terrible thing to do.
Yeah. And of course, there's the cheese rolling, isn't there? That
Yes,
yeah,
down the hill.
Looks very, very dangerous. Shin kicking?
That doesn't sound very nice.
No. I can remember from my football days, you don't want to get clocked in the shins.
I don't think so. 91 for 3. Holder moves in, bowls, and Sibley drives him. It's a thickish outside portion of the bat, I'll suggest. You don't often see him get the ball through the offside.
3.
But he's going to get 3 here. Yes, he is. They turn now. He goes to the far end. And Stokes down to this. And England moves to 94 for 3. The light not really very good, if I'm honest. The floodlights are on, but if it wasn't for them, we certainly wouldn't be playing. But it's unusual to see Sibley driving square through the offside, but he managed to get that away.
What are you kicking the shins with? What, a pair of old boots or something?
I suppose so.
Can't be doing that. It's break your leg.
Metal toe caps.
Oh, wow. Oh, feeling it already.
Yeah. We can put a few bits of straw down there. That make you feel better.
Oh, no, not at all.
So, Holder bowls. That's turned away down to long leg for one run. Well, these old traditional sports, they've got to keep you going. Alistair from Storrington.
Yeah.
Why do I know Storrington? I've come across that. Here's an interesting village tradition for you that started in 2007. Well, that's a recent one.
It's all in the pubs, isn't
White
it?
Lion Inn, Thacum. It also gives some great names of villages here. Thacum in Sussex. Aid, the landlord, devised a tradition to start the smoking season of the hams. He puts up the Inglenook chimney in the pub. All right, he puts the hams up the Inglenook. Okay.
Yeah.
The runner puts a ham on their back. This is going to get good, I think. Then comes Holder, bowls, and Sibley turns in for 1. Yes, it will be 1. There's a good stop there at mid-wicket. So Sibley goes to 42. And it's 96 for 3. Right, so the runner puts a ham on his back, or her back, for instance, then runs up the road, being chased by the regulars. And anyone lucky enough to be eating their Sunday lunch that day, the first person to catch the runner officially licks the ham.
Okay.
It's followed by the winner getting lots of beer
Oh, very good.
and having to run the ham the following year. I was the original runner. I reclaimed my throne in 2008, but my form has since deteriorated and I've failed to catch the runner since. Holder bowls. Stokes on the front foot, plays out to cover, and there's no run. There's quite a lot of this, I suggest, isn't going to happen this year, is it?
No.
The shin kicking contest won't happen.
No, and I imagine licking the hams.
Ham
Gone out
licking
the window.
contest won't
It's
happen.
gone out the window.
There's quite a lot. I think, can you do socially distanced knob throwing? I don't know, possibly. The welly throwing? That could be socially distanced, I would think.
Caber tossing.
So that could probably be. Holder bowls, and Stokes just shuffles into line and plays into the onside.
You've got to be strong to do that.
Have you seen that live?
Highland Games. Cool.
Have you been to the Highland Games?
Yeah, I have, yeah. You've got to be a big old boy to get that.
Yeah, it's basically a Matters or telegraph pole. Isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's got to land sort of straight and go end over end.
Right.
Yeah, no, you've got to give that a good flick.
I wonder how far they throw them.
Well, it's more about getting it end over end and straight more than far. I think that's right, yeah.
Holder, bringing shadows with him now from the floodlights. Bowls. Oh, that's a good ball.
Belter.
Just held its own there outside the off stump, and Stokes, I think, missed that by quite a long way, actually. Pushing at it and moving away just enough to beat the bat. 96 for 3. Holder's shaking his head. Oh, that was so close.
What's it?
Right, David Broadmeadow.
They're coming thick and fast.
Well, they
now. Are these made up?
Dwyle Flonking is an East Anglian pub sport comprising 2 teams of 12 players. It sounds serious stuff.
Yeah.
Each taking a turn to dance around the other while attempting to avoid a beer-soaked dwyle, which is a cloth which is thrown by the non-dancing team.
Right.
I used to play this game with several ne'er-do-wells in Suffolk pubs.
Okay. Interesting.
Joseph goes wide of the crease. Sibley watches it swing away from him and plays no stroke. Well, all these.
There's loads of
pub
them.
games.
There's
aren't
loads of them.
there? Yep.
There's loads of them on those winter evenings. Something.
Dwyle Flonking played a couple of games for Gloucestershire Second. the
Did
other
he?
night,
I thought he might have done. It rang a bell. It could easily be, couldn't it?
Very good all-rounder.
96 for 3. Well, thank you for keeping us entertained. The
Yeah.
cricket's quite slow at the
It
moment.
is indeed.
In goes as Joseph, and again, Sibley forward, plays along the ground to mid-on. You have all been busy.
Yeah.
Andy Baird, I live near Abingdon, Oxfordshire, has a 400-year-old tradition to mark royal occasions. The town councillors dress up in ceremonial robes, and they throw about 4,000 specially baked currant buns from the top of the County Hall building into chanting crowds gathered below in the market square. That must be something from the very old days of
Wow.
feeding the,
Yes.
I don't know,
Yeah.
not so well off or something. In goes Joseph, bowls, and, nicely played by Sibley again, getting right behind us and playing down to mid-on.
Like the old squire, just
Yes.
feeding his...
His peasants.
Yes, when they're a bit
Yeah.
short on a bit of grub.
Again, I'm not sure that'll happen this year either.
No. No, it's got to be...
It's sad, all these things that
well, there you go.
having to wait. Necessarily so, but
We should go around the country looking into all these, John.
That'd be great
Because
things to do, wouldn't
they mainly seem to be happening in pubs.
Joseph, let's just go out side the off stump. It's left alone by Sibley.
We could have a couple of months just going around, sort of looking into all of these.
Yes, our Morris dancers rock up at our pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's very famous.
Including our local. I think he's now retired, Darryl. He was the local bobby policeman,
Yeah.
and he used to get into his clogs or whatever they were, and used to
Get his
wave his
stick.
hanky around his stick. Yeah,
Yeah, you can't be waving your hanky about nowadays. Oh, no,
No,
crikey.
that's going to stop.
Yeah, without
I
doubt.
don't think they'll be there this year.
Yeah.
96 for 3
Wassailing.
goes Joseph again. Low full toss. Oh, Sibley missed out there. You don't get many bad deliveries, but that was a low full toss. He tried to hit it straight down the ground and mistimed that.
Wassailing's one as well, isn't it? When you, I think that's down in Cornwall, isn't it? When you-
Catawailing. Wassailing.
Well, no, wassailing. I think you pour cider all over a tree or something just to make sure it sort of, like a lot of these are all about sort of the start of the summer and rebirth, aren't they? And
Yes.
things like that. Back in the pagan, perhaps a bit,
Yes.
sort of pagany.
Is that what Morris dancing was? Is that to
Might
do with
be.
what sort of thing? Here's Joseph again, some nice outswing there. Admired by the slips, but ignored by Sibley. And it's 96 for 3 after 40. And tea today is about 25 past 4, I think, so keep an eye on that. Paul Dowling from Thrapston. I know Thrapston very well in Northampton.
Say it again.
Thrapston. I think I've got a feeling we bought a donkey once from Thrapston all those years ago. In the village of Titchmarsh in Northamptonshire, they have parachuting teddies thrown from the top of the church spire, and one that goes the furthest wins a prize. And at our charter fair, again Fayre, we like the old spelling, in Thrapston, we put teddies on a zip wire that goes from our church spire. That sounds rather good fun.
Teddies have feelings too.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
They do. Isn't it funny how one cake from Eleanor Oldroyd can inspire a nation's conversation, at least for a couple of hours?
Yeah. Because as you say, it has been a bit quiet.
It has been a bit quiet, and the lights gloomy, and there's nobody there. And it's all a bit soulless. But you're here, Tuffers.
Yes.
We're making the best of it. It is a bit odd.
No, I think a lot of it is to do with, as you say, the coming of the spring and rebirth.
Right.
And we've got through the winter, I might be wrong.
I love these names of these villages, though, but they're a bit challenging to read blind, and I suspect I've got some wrong, I'm afraid. In comes Roach, and he bowls down the leg side. Change of bowling here, and that one is
hurt
not
him.
taken cleanly by Durrett. He's having a pretty miserable afternoon, actually, behind the stumps. And they're coming back for the second as the throw there misses the stumps.
That's hurt him, John.
That has hurt Durrett. He didn't even go up to the stumps there to collect that. Ooh, a stinger.
Get it right on the old finger point as a
Yeah.
keeper. It's a bit chilly out there. Oh, what have we got here? Got another one.
This is from Antonio. Something which Crawley is world renowned, other than for being next to Gatwick Airport, is the annual World Marble Championship held every year behind the Greyhound pub.
There you go.
Teams from all over the world come for the weekend, normally resulting in a Dutch win, really. There's Roach bowling, played by Stokes, down to mid-on, and there's no runs. They're marble champions, aren't
And
they?
well, the Conkers.
Oh,
Yeah, Conkers is big. Yeah, they've got a great big sort of world championship at Conkers. I don't think you're allowed to bake them or anything.
I
Or
thought
put 'em in
they'd been
vinegar.
sort of health and safety off now, Conker fights. haven't
Well, I think you've got to wear safety glasses.
they? Do you?
Yeah, but I think they're still going, the Conker Championship.
There's nothing nicer than in your hand that lovely shiny new Conker, isn't it?
beauty.
You just it's on the ground. You open it up, all the spikes, and there is that beautiful, beautiful brown round nut. It's played out towards mid wicket. It's on by Stokes,
Horse chestnuts, aren't
and
they?
there's no run.
Are they horse chestnuts?
What
Conkers. They come from the horse chestnut tree, don't they?
do they?
I believe so. It's held in Ashton in Northamptonshire
Yeah.
every